So, I'm 48. I've worked full-time since I was 15. Up until January, I was working 7 days a week, 8, 10, 12-hour days. Also working with spinal stenosis in my back, arthritis in my hips, and blown discs in my neck. No big deal. I was on restrictions for to sit and stand as I needed. I did inspection for automotive industry. I don't know how to put it. In January 24th, on my way to work, I stopped to give my sister a jump start. So that made my timeline off to work, and I drive 38 minutes one way to work. I had a girl I work with that I've been giving rides to. She was with me. Due to shutdowns and layoffs and all this other crap, I had a vehicle that I did not have insurance on. Yeah. So after I jumped my sister's car, we get going down backcountry roads. Really foggy out, really foggy. And my timeline was off because I had stopped for my sister. So I came up on the stop sign at this T section quicker than I thought it would. And I was going about 55. Hit the brakes, started to make the turn. I would have made it. Granted, it would have been blown through the stop sign, but I would have made it. But I hit a patch of black ice. Shot across the road, foot still on the brake, landed in the ditch on a huge boulder. I crushed my tibial plateau, so pylon fracture. I crushed it. Airbags went off. My ankle come up to meet my shin, blew bone, fibula, out that side of my ankle, out the outside of my ankle, blew through the veins, ligaments, tendons, everything, shaved off part of the bone. Pulverized the talus and the little bones on the inside of my ankle when it come up. So I'm sitting there. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Airbags went off. Those hurt the worst. Checking on my passenger, make sure she's okay. Her eyes are rolling back. And I'm making sure she's awake. I'm trying to get self-service because, like I said, backcountry roads, and in that ditch, I did not have service. I had enough service to send a message to my daughter, where we worked at the same place, said I'm not going to make it. I've just been in a really bad car accident. Sent a message to my son, told him the same thing. Then I didn't have service anymore. So, luckily, somebody come up the road shortly after, behind us. She come down ditch, asked if we needed to call 911, and I said yes. I'd already tried to call, I kept dropping the call. So, Perry, fire chief, ambulance shows up, which I used to work for him. I didn't even recognize him at the time. And another ambulance shows up, and he comes down to the car, and he looks in, and I'm holding my chest. It's so many bruises from the airbag, and they burn. Oh God, do they burn. And I'm holding my leg up under my knee because I went to put my leg down, and I felt the so I knew it was broke. And I looked at the floor, and I seen bright blood. I was like, shit. So, luckily, I'm very calm in emergencies. Very calm. And he leans in. I opened up my door, and he leans in. And he says, how you doing? I said, I hurt. I said, just so you know, there's blood down there. There's blood on the floorboard. He looks, and he leans over over the steering wheel, and he looks down at my ankle, and he goes, "Did you look at it?" Just, "Nope." He said, "I know what I did. Not looking at it." And I'm so stupid. He's looking at me, and he's looking around, and somebody else is checking on my coworker, and which later, luckily the only damage that she had was a broken wrist. Anyway, so he's looking at how he's gonna get me out of the car, and I says, "I can swing my legs out." And he goes, "What?" I says, "All I gotta do is move my move my seat back, and I can swing my legs out." He goes, "You sure?" I said, "Yeah." So I push the button. My seat starts going back. He grabs the steering wheel, wrenches it up because it was shoved down because I hit it, or when the airbag went off and it hit me, it crunched that down. And so I put my one leg out, and I kind of angled my butt a little bit and picked up my leg, and I moved it out. And he's looking at me, and he's looking at him. I'm down in a ditch, and it is slushy and muddy and slippery. And I look up, and they've got the gurney out, but they can't get the gurney down there. And it's a deep ditch. And the smell of the car was just ridiculous. I mean, that was one of the first things I did was turn the car off. You know, I mean, it obviously it quit. I mean, I crushed the motor, but I turned the ignition off. So he says, I see him looking back and forth, and like I said, I used to work for him, so I can see his thought process. I can see what he's thinking. And I says, "So how are we gonna do this?" I said, "I'm very calm." And he's like, "Huh?" And I says, "I can hop up the hill." And he's like, "What?" I says, "If you can help support me, I can hop up the hill." He goes, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah." So we had one fire guy come down, EMT, whatever. Put my arm around him. I put my arm around Guy, which is his name, my old boss. And so I had an arm around each guy, so they're supporting me. And he's holding my leg. Okay? I can't feel my ankle. I could feel my knee. I couldn't feel my ankle. And we started up the embankment, and I'm hopping on one leg. Okay. Well, the dude on the one side of me keeps slipping. And I'm like, he's going to freaking drop me. So we got almost all the way to the top of the embankment, and he had another guy come forward and kind of help as well. I'm a big girl. And so we got up the embankment. They put me on the gurney. Put me in the ambulance. And he immediately starts giving me, I think, fentanyl for pain. And, you know, we're doing all the assessments. He's got me in a neck brace. He's got me stabilizing my ankle, and that's when I started feeling it. Wrapping my ankle, like I said, because it was bleeding. I blew out the skin. So then we get a phone call, or he gets a call. It says there's a young man here at the hospital wanting to know where you're taking her. Can we let him know? Da 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 da. And we'd already decided that they were going to take me to Sparrow, which I'm more than fine with. Our local hospital would have just probably butchered my leg, unless they got the main orthopedic surgeon in there, which I've known him for years. And so, yeah, they can tell him. Well, then my son decided he was going to stay here with the dogs, and he didn't want to see me in that condition. My middle child, my daughter that I work with, she got to work, and she told them what was going on, and I said, she says, "I'm not staying, I'm leaving." and my oldest daughter, who is on all my medical forms, flipping out. So they got to Sparrow after I got to Sparrow. Okay. I'm such a smart ass and just stupid shit. So I'm in the emergency room and they're cutting off my pants. Well, for one, I bitch because I just bought them. But I'm like, I'm sorry. And they're like, for what? And I says, I need to shave my legs. And they're like, we don't care, honey. And I'm like, that's alright. So then they start messing with me. Messing with my leg. And I start telling them to just cut it off. Just cut it off. Lob it off. Literally what I said. Just lob it off. I don't need it. Just cut it off. And they're like, no, we're not going to cut it. And apparently, they were giving me stuff for pain. So yes, I was out of it, but I was still in pain. So my daughter said I was quite vocal. Can't imagine that. And the nurses, you know, they're over there talking and whatnot. And, you know, visiting. And my oldest daughter's getting bitchy. And my younger daughter sitting there playing a game on her phone, and that's pissing my older daughter off. So it's like, but yeah, so I wound up, the next, this was like at 10:30 at night that the accident happened. Sometime that early morning, whatever. They took me into surgery, they debrided, cleaned up the exit wound in the outside of my ankle, and sutured it up. So accident happened on a Friday. That was on a Saturday. Sunday, once they figured out what they were going to do, they went in and did my knee. I have a plate and 5 screws, a T-post plate and 5 screws. And, you know, they put an external fixator on, which is a bar that went through my ankle, or through my heel. 2 bars putting into the shin, and basically whole apparatus of bars and stuff, to hold my ankle to my leg. Because it was just floppy. So to stabilize it. Uh-oh. I think my dog might have got a squirrel. Oh, it's just yelling at him. Oh. Anyway. So that was on a Sunday? Monday? I don't remember. I think it was on a Sunday. Anywho. Young, good-looking doctor does it. No issues, no complaints. Come Wednesday, they're talking about putting me in a rehab center. I'm like, no. I'm not going to a rehab. I said, I don't live alone. My son's there. He's 22 at the time, 23 now. I'm not going to a rehab center. My daughter is a stay-at-home mom. She worked. No, she only worked on the weekends for a couple hours for a couple, taking care of them. No. I have the support at home. We had pretty much all the medical equipment we could need anyways, because I'm living in the house that my sister and I took over when our dad passed. And he had a lot of medical issues. Plus, she works for VFW. Anything that's in the shed, you can borrow, and when you're done with it, take back. Anywho, I have 2 Great Danes, a pit mix, and at the time, 3 cats. 2 of the cats are seniors. My Great Danes don't eat when I'm not home. And sure enough, my older boy had not eaten since the accident, since that night, because when I wasn't home in the morning, he started stressing out. So they released me on Wednesday. I come home, and then, you know, it's just recuperating, blah 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 blah. Then on February 18th, the day after my birthday, so technically I was 47 when it happened, I went back to the hospital, overnight stay, or 2-day stay, and they fixed the inside of my ankle. And the reason they waited so long is because they have to wait for swelling or any blistering or whatever to go down. And Also to figure out what he was going to do. Because like I said, I pulverized the bone in there. The bones in there. He couldn't find them. Some of them were totally missing. They were just at impact, the ground into powder, basically. So I now have what's called a tightrope, a plate, and 9 screws. That'll never be able to come out because they're replacing bone that is gone. Now my recovery from that, from all this, has been long. I still have to walk with a cane or a walker depending on the day, and with winter coming I'm feeling it's going to be more walker than anything. It's 67 degrees today and my leg is killing me. I try not to take pain meds unless I absolutely have to, but usually in the morning I do have to take something just to get up and move. I've been on short-term disability through work up until July 24th. They are deciding on the long-term disability, which is like 40% of your pay once a month. Mind you, in April, after I had my surgery in February, once I seen the doctor in April and had a better idea of what my recovery timeline was going to be, he flat out told me. The one that did my ankle has 23 years experience in just being an ankle specialist. He told me the extent of my injuries and what I had done was the second worst he's ever seen. The first one being he lost the foot. He said, I totally should better expect arthritis, and I will always have problems with it. So, April 8th, I filed for disability with Michigan Disability Attorneys of Michigan. All the COVID stuff, I'm still waiting on a decision. I'm waiting on the long-term disability decision. So here it is, August 15th. I have no income. None. I get $16 in food help a month, but that'll go up because I won't have an income. That was based off of my short-term disability. Because granted, I was listed as getting $715 every 2 weeks, but I only got $180 after all the insurance and everything, and taxes and everything were taken out. Well, now I don't have any income. So, and disability is still on stage 2 of 3 in determining, and they've been on that stage, which is the medical portion of that, for 4 months, 3.5 months now. I contacted my lawyer and they said, oh, it's still pending. No shit, I know that, I can look that up. Do they need any more information? They have everything. No, it's because they're working from home. I said, well, if you think that'd make them work quicker because they don't have travel time, I don't know. What I do know is that it's getting rough. I've exhausted my 401k and just paying my bills. Yeah. Exhausted it. I think there's $181 left in it. And then, you know, my son was without a job for a long time because of the COVID stuff. So, yeah. So I've been making cat butthole coasters. I'm starting to make the hanging hand towel coasters with the crocheted handles, pumpkins, ghosts, whatever. During the summer, I was crocheting sandals from flip-flops. Do what I can to make money, but trust me, winter's coming. That's pretty much done. So, yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do. Luckily, my son is working now, but problem is, he's supposed to start out at 40 hours a week for a company that he worked for before. Within 2 weeks, they cut it down to 3 days a week because they hired too many people. Idiots. Anywho. Don't have a car. I can't drive anyways. I haven't been cleared to drive. And my PTSD from the accident. I took and drove my daughter's vehicle 3 spots over at a campsite. I got out, I mean, while I was doing it, I was fine. But when I got out of the vehicle, I was shaking. My anxiety is just not, no. It's not allowing driving. I can't do it. I'm nervous wrecking the car when I ride with anybody. Especially like if they're coming into a parking spot and there's a pole there. They get too close to that pole and my heart just starts thumping. But it is what it is. They'll either make a decision soon or or I'll be done. Yeah, no, in the car, obviously a complete loss. When my son went to look at it where it was towed, the guy that picked it up off the boulder, and we're talking the boulder of a size of a small car, he said that had I been going even like 3 more miles an hour, I would have had the engine in my lap, and I probably wouldn't have made it. So, on that note, where's the word to the wise? If, and I know it's got reaction, whatever. If you're in a spin out, if you hit black ice, whatever, get your foot off the brake. Because the impact and my foot still being on the brake is what did all this damage. I would have been fine. I'd still be working had I not kept my foot on the brake. But it is what it is. And that's the story of my injury. Hope you at least got a little chuckle out of it.